Welcome to this week's edition of the podcast. Now, this is going to be the first podcast where we introduce the first guest of the year, and today we're going to have a Mr. Cornel Sampson. Now, they say natural juice can reduce the risk of cancer, boost your immune system, remove toxins from the body, aid digestion, help lose weight, and reduce inflammation. So we thought, who better to talk to about the quality and the benefits of this magic juice than the magic juice man himself, Mr. Cornel Sampson. Now, before we introduce our guest and get into this fantastic topic of natural juice, let's first have a call out to our sponsors. We know how important they are for everything we're doing here at Drake, Michigan. So a big shout out to... We have Atlantis Property Developments Limited, your one-stop contractor for all your development needs, from refurbishments, renovations, extensions and new builds. So if you're in the market for a new apartment block, a luxury home, a wraparound kitchen extension and everything in between, then check them out at www.atlantisproperty.uk. We have Apollo Windows and Doors, a Fencer-registered windows and door installation company. They do everything from the initial survey to the full and final installation and clean. Check these guys out at apollo-windows.co.uk. We have Estimate My Plans. Get a quick, detailed and professional estimate based on all of your building plans. Estimate My Plans carry out work for private clients, building companies, property developments, architects and local councils. So if you want a detailed estimate based on your current plans, check these guys out at estimatemyplans.co.uk. Without further ado, let's introduce our first guest of the year, the amazing Mr. Cornel Sampson.
Thanks for coming in, Cornel.
Thank you, Kev. Thank you, Ant, for inviting me. Really looking forward to this.
You were our very, very first guest.
And in fact, believe it or not, it was an idea we had at Haydock, Andy Barlow's event where he held. Mm-hmm. I went and had a drink of these juices, and I said, we need to have a chat with him.
Yeah, definitely. Well, you were very interested.
Well, the thing is that because I've heard stuff in the past, but it's something else again. I've heard about it, never do it. Do you know what I mean? So we're talking about change. We're talking about trying new things and seeing if stuff really works. Mm-hmm. And this is something I've always thought, do you know what? Because I can't take medication. I'm allergic to anti-inflammatories. I only take paracetamol. So I suffer with bloating and I suffer with antacid regularly. I live on Gaviscon. So I thought I can't wait to talk to yourself. Okay, so it's been in the plan for quite a bit, hasn't it?
Yeah. We're very excited that you've joined us today, Cornel.
So, but I think what we do is before we sort of get into the nitty gritty and the benefits and talk about the juice, I think we need to find out who Cornel is.
Who is
Cornel? Who am I?
Who's the man?
So let's take you back to your younger you, if you like, if you want to pick it up somewhere. What was a young Cornel? What was you into? Have you always believed in this kind of stuff?
I have always believed in it, and I've always lived in it, but I didn't realise it, and there was a big gap in my life where I'd completely forgotten about my background and my youth.
Right.
And certain events took me right back to that realization. Who am I? I was a young kid with just loads of energy, loving life. And from the moment I could run, I haven't stopped running. And by that, I mean that I was playing sports. I joined the Marine Cadets,
Right.
and I was, active in the Marine Cadets. After Marine Cadets, I was playing football, 16, 17. Whilst I was at school, I played sports for the school, but always represented the year or 2 years above me because I
So
was
you're quite good.
good. I was aggressive. I was strong. I didn't wimp out. And my whole life, I was in the gym at 15, 16, and I've always been in the gym. Later on in life, I worked as a fitness professional, group and individual classes, worked for the council, had my own little independent agency. Also along that route, I went to Liverpool Uni as a mature student and came out with a sports science degree.
Correct.
So, but before that, I was an apprentice in engineering. Hated it. Well, I liked the engineering part at first, but after the apprenticeship, didn't like it. I don't make a good employee.
Yeah. I was going to ask you there. So when you was a kid growing up, obviously you're very sporty, you're very active. Did you always think, if I'm going to do anything, I want to do something in this field, in this line? Did you have any ambitions what you wanted to be, or?
I just knew I liked doing what I was doing, and if I liked what I was doing, I just do more of it.
Right.
I trialled for Preston North End once in football. Then I had a bad knee injury, and whilst I was trying to recover from the knee injury, I got into weights.
Right.
And I ended up competing as a powerlifter in 3 competitions, winning a powerlifting competition. I then went into bodybuilding, which culminated in winning a junior national title.
Wow.
So would you take everything what you went into, the football, the bodybuilding, like possessive, like 100%? You never held back. You give it everything.
Yeah, and it's really interesting that outside my sports career, my sports and activities, in my personal life, like a lot of people, I had a massive dip. I was rock bottom. Nothing was working out for me, and I saw a life coach, and one of the exercises was to write down what you'd done and when you did it. And lots of things I did overlapped, but I didn't do anything for less than 6 or 7 years.
Right.
I didn't do weights for less than 6 or 7 years. I didn't play sports. I didn't do the gym for less than 6 or 7. The work that I was doing at the time, I had a decade or so in it.
So you committed yourself to it.
And that's in my nature. If I say I'm going to do something,
you're going to do it.
And I put everything into it.
And what about, so like if you committed to these sports or any activity, did you find you had that commitment in other areas of your life, or did other areas suffer because
other areas suffered? That's why my first marriage broke down, or things like that.
I only ask because when we speak, it's a common thing. See, like even footballers and things like so, they put so much into one area of their life,
you neglect other parts.
Yeah, and then afterwards, you wonder if, God, do you know what? I wish I wouldn't have. You know what I mean? These or you learn to we maybe call it balance. Or we learn to work on that aspect as well. Yeah, because we all want to succeed. I mean, not everyone, but when we go into something, we want to be the best at it we can, or we want to. Let's be honest. Anyone who reaches the top in any field, it's because they've put everything into it.
Absolutely.
If you don't give 100%, I mean, if you only give 70% into a relationship, it don't work. And this is what happens in people's life. And this is what, I mean, we speak all the time about getting the balance right. Mm-hmm. And I spoke to you before as well about my spirit guide when he come through to me. And at the time, my life was a mess. And he said to me, you need boxes, if you like military. Yeah. You have to have organisation. Yeah, that's your time for playing. That's your time for working. That's your time for saving. That's your time for spending. Yeah. Now, when you're young, a lot of men are testosterone and and it's funny how it affects different people in different ways. See. So in terms of what's your heritage, Cornel?
I was born in Jamaica from Jamaican parents. My father came to the UK first, set up home, and then mum and I followed later.
So you was actually born in Jamaica and lived there. So how long did you live in Jamaica for?
I was only a baby when I went.
So have you not got much memory of that?
No. And I only went back. As an adult. I see all the pictures. Mum had a photo album with pictures, and grandfather had a farm with cattle, and at 18 months I could walk and whistle to bring the cows in with the guys, and she showed me the pictures, things like that.
I always find it fascinating when people have got other cultures, and that, because obviously if you don't know nothing about it, it's just fascinating, to find out. And so your dad would have come across here for what work?
For work.
For work.
The land of opportunity with payments.
Would that have been like the Windows generation what we talk about?
Yeah.
That's a big subject as well into that. Maybe for another day, but that's something we could definitely talk about as well, because they've been treated very badly there. But obviously at the time it's come across great opportunity, land like America, if you like, a land of opportunity.
Yeah, there's so many things happened at that time that today's generation wouldn't understand or comprehend a little bit. We talk about the prejudice, the racism, etc. And there's also things that have come to light today that were happened politically that have formed the communities that we form the way they are today. Right, which is now coming out. But they started. My father was a skilled joiner and builder, but could only get labouring work or low-skilled work. And in Preston, Cornel's, the textile company, was one of the largest employers. So lots of the migrant workers were based there. But a big percentage of them, pulled the socks up, got a side hustle, and eventually, Dad came out of there and started working as a joiner builder. He worked for, there's a bit of a building boom in the 70s, 80s. So he was, he employed a couple of guys. But I've talked to a few of my friends, and their fathers and mothers went through the same process, working at Cornel's and then getting out, starting the carpet business, the little catering business,
And you have to take your hat off to the parents of that generation.
Can you imagine
to leave in a country, to come to another country, to then to...
It takes massive bravery, doesn't it?
And also, if you like, obviously, he was probably more skilled than his first position when he got here. Then you're putting up with all the
nonsense around the racism and all that.
And did you see that firsthand growing up, Cornel? Did you have to suffer with any of that?
How do you think I learned to fight?
Well, no, because this is...
Because I went on to box amateur and professional.
I read that you did boxing.
And do you think that's what pushed you into that? Because of the
racism didn't push me into boxing, but the society was teaching me I can either be a victim or be in control.
Wow.
And I chose to be in control. And that's my whole life. I still see it today, and sometimes people around me understand why I sort of go at it, but I see it's what I read. It's a pattern that I recognize.
But you can also understand why someone might feel like they're a victim. I know it's not a great way to be, but you can understand. You can understand where some people succeed from it. Some people,
and it's hard not to feel like a victim because you got to step out of your comfort zone. You got to face your demons.
So, as an adult, can you see how that affected you even now? Like, or can you see how that what happened as a child and the bullying or the racism and everything has played a role in your life like that?
As I sit here today, I'm the sum total of all my life's experiences. Some of it was negative, but anybody you talk to will tell you that I'm the most positive person that they ever meet. So I'm not a victim of it, but I had to deal with it. I talked to my kids, I talked to relatives, I said, you have to deal with it. Find your way to deal with it and not, you can choose to be a victim or to
Has it changed, Cornel, over the years, or is it still the same?
I believe I do get asked. It's a great question. I do get asked that quite a lot, but I believe it's more covert. Once upon a time, people were brazen enough to come and abuse me to my face.
Yeah, because they could get away.
They daren't do that.
Yeah.
They start doing that a long time ago. But I do feel that I call it covert.
Yeah.
Make you wait online or give you a bad service or ignore you or.
Well, I think the label it's given is institutional racism.
Yeah.
And bottom line is most, it's lack of knowledge.
Lack of ignorance.
Yeah, I mean, because, listen, I had different race and coloured friends growing up. I had different, I had Muslim friends, I had Jamaican friends. But back in the Midlands, I was brought in over there where, since I've come up north, it's predominantly white. When I first come to Wigan...
Well, Wigan, when you came... was very white.
Yeah. That's what I mean.
There were very, very few.
I found that strange because, back in the Midlands where I was brought up, we went to school, it was 60-40 kids. It wasn't,
Yeah.
So it comes down to lack of knowledge, and also as well. And this is another great thing. So, because when you get to meet someone. And then you get to speak to them and you get to know the past and the struggles and the successes and you just, all that evaporates then.
Yeah.
I mean, it should never be there in the first place. But
a lot of it's conditioning again, though, Kev. We talk about conditioning a lot. If you've got someone in a household that's got a racist kind of agenda behind them, those kids are going to have the same, aren't they? So they get that for 7 years. Yeah. I'm not saying Wigan is racist because Wigan has changed actually, but I know.
No, but we do know.
Been a white.
I mean, listen, we know institutional racism exists. I mean, it's happening even in leading political parties. They're arguing about it
in every
So, but it's wrong and it's a shame. But
you've gained strength from, even though you've turned that really negative energy into something which driven you, haven't you?
Yeah, and I saw that fight. So my mother, once I heard my mother swear, she could stand up for herself. Wow. But my parents refused to be victims. So
good. Yeah, it's a great attitude. Yeah, and I wonder, obviously in your case it's been inspiration, and I wonder if that attitude then is why, everything you've done, you want to be. I want to be really good at it. I want to be the best at it.
Possibly, yeah.
That drive. Yeah. Because a lot of people don't even have that drive, do they? They just
most people don't.
A lot of people are sort of
just go through what we talk about, the NPC thing.
But just a lot of people are sort of wrapped in cotton wool. And I mean, my own daughter now, she thinks she's got a detention tonight, and she thinks she's not being hard done to. And we're like, well, behave yourself.
You ask a 16 or 18-year-old just to go to another town. Their mind would go to another country with nobody with everything.
Takes so much bravery.
And they're just
you have to take your hat off to your parents. That would have been a big decision to leave everything back in the day. Then.
Yeah.
From your upbringing, then, because obviously this is all pure natural stuff, isn't it? Yeah. Everything that you're doing is natural. So you must have had some inspiration coming from somewhere to drive you there also.
Okay, so if we go back a little bit then, with all the sporting activities that I'd gone through, all my weight training, all the times in the gym, I was in the gym. I boxed amateur and professional. Then as soon as I finised, by the way, I was top 10 rated as a British light middleweight.
Really?
Over 3 years.
Wow.
Yeah, beat the Scottish. I fought a draw with the Scottish champion, John McAllister.
Yeah.
But a draw in Scotland, as we all know, is a win anywhere else in the known universe. I beat the Welsh champion, a guy called Steve Davies.
I remember watching Steve Davies on Sky. So that would have been the 90s, would it?
Yes.
Because boxing was massive 80s, in the late 80s, early 90s, wasn't it? It was huge.
Yeah. So then after I finished my boxing career, I stayed in the fitness industry, but I was also, in my spare time, I'd be hiking, abseiling, playing squash, riding my bike,
always
full on active. And then towards the end of 2018, early 2019, my lifestyle was revolving around still activities. I joined a weekend adventure club, so we were walking in the lakes and things like that.
Nice.
I was dancing salsa, social dancing once or twice a week, but training 2 or 3 times a week.
So active.
I'm just tired just listening.
I play saxophone in a local concert band. So,
Amazing.
Man of many talents.
My life is built around activity, and all that was coming to an end because of the pain in my knees and my shoulders.
Okay.
And then, so by the end of 2019, I couldn't walk 100 meters without my knees swelling. I couldn't lift my arm above my shoulder.
Was this from the boxing?
This is just wear and tear in
okay.
the muscles and joints.
Yeah.
That's how it was explained to me. I saw a musculoskeletal consultant who was saying, "Oh, you'd have to go undertake some surgery, and then we'll follow up with some drug therapy." So I said, bearing in mind, this is what my life's been like 2018 up to now. Can I go back to, and he without thinking, he said, no, that'll have to stop. There'll be no more activities like that. And the only thing he could promise me was that the drugs and the drug therapy that I have to undertake would give me side effects.
Of course. Don't they always?
So I said, can I take some time to go and think about this? So I left, and I'll be honest with you, I sat in my apartment for nearly 2 weeks, just wallowing in self-pity, thinking my whole life had come to an end.
Yeah.
But the thing is, you would take a medical professional, you'll take his word as if like you think that's you think that's going to have to be the way now, don't you?
He told me I had no option. I asked him, what's the one of my options? He said, you don't have one. This is it.
God, that's terrifying.
And then after 2 weeks, I woke up one morning. I just said, you know what? I'm going to fix myself.
Good for you.
And I started then. I went to Dr. Google. That's where we all start. Pain, inflammation, joints, and turmeric and ginger kept coming up. So I just rushed out and bought some over-the-counter products, apple cider vinegar, Crondotin, and a few other things. And little or no results from them. Yeah. Apple cider vinegar.
Yeah, because I've heard that.
I was taking that as well.
Mixed reviews on
I was desperate to get my life back.
Yeah.
In hindsight, looking back, if you'd have asked me how I felt at that time, I would have said, I was naffed off, I was fed up. But really, I was mentally unwell. Yeah. I stopped all my social activities. I stopped talking to my friends. I was just sat in my apartment. If I had to go out, I had to plan for 3 days to be sat at home waiting for the pain and swelling to subside. So
that's a good thing because you were such a positive, outlooking person, if you like. You probably didn't even realise that you were actually having a period of depression there.
Didn't.
Do you know what I mean? Or you're definitely having periods of like anxiety, and also at first the doctors made you accept his diagnosis, which has probably put you on a complete downer. But what the great thing is there, the power of your upbringing and the strength that you have from that, something's obviously clicked and said, okay, you've told me that, but I refuse to accept that.
Yeah.
And this is what we talk about. People have the ability to choose, accept or reject. Yeah. And then, okay, the first couple of weeks you listened to what he said, but then you decided, I reject that.
Yeah, it took me 2 weeks.
Yeah.
2 weeks.
It's like, I'm not going to let one man's opinion, one man's profession, just because he's...
It's like, and
listen, I'm not being disrespectful to that doctor because, he could have been a great doctor, but the thing was, he's just... How can someone just text somebody, hardly know him, and just diagnose them like that without real in-depth research? I mean...
it's procedures, isn't it?
Like doctors today, how many people go and see a doctor and they don't get proper... looked into what's the real situation
unless they've got a pill to sell. They've got nothing else to offer generally. I remember when I had depression and I went to see the GP and I said, I don't want to take any antidepressants, and he said, well, what are you here for? I said, well, I'm telling you, I'm going to take whatever natural, I can't remember what it was, St. John's wort. So I'm going to take St. John's wort. I said, well, I can't tell you not to take that. And I was like, well, I'm looking for some guidance. I'm offering you antidepressants.
We talk about taking different routes in life. So what happens if you would have gone there, the doctor turns around and has said, oh, you can't do this, you can't do that, and like then you go away, you feel depressed, your life's going like on hold, or you're not sure what you're going to. So now you go back to the doctor and you say, look, I'm feeling not so well. So now he tells you, take this.
Yeah.
This will numb the pain.
Yeah.
So now suddenly you're a victim of pharmaceutical medication. You're like, people could very easily go down one path. Now, fortunate for you, you're sat here because you decided no.
Great strength and credit to you, because most people, I know my partner suffers with pain 24/7. She's had sort of chronic pain for 9 years. Lots of big story in itself. But she's seen no other way out but try this. Let's try this now. So there's like a never-ending cycle of side effect. You're doing this to cover that side effect, that to cover that side effect, and you're knackered.
Yeah, and just quickly before we just what's called there. So up to that point, when the doctors told you, look, your body's failing you, it's knackered, you've got inflammation. Had you ever looked at life from any other angle, like, can I heal myself? Can I heal my own body? Or at that point, was you very much like,
Not consciously, because my body never been in that position. I'd always enjoyed good health, hardly a day's sickness, loads of, I just get up every morning and go, have a little bit of rest and go again. So up to that point, no, I never thought, it needed.
You've never had to think in that way.
I had to think about that. I tried a few of the tablets, little or no effect. And then I thought, let me try something else. So I bought turmeric powder, bought turmeric ginger. I was literally mixing the powder with honey in a sauce and a cup and trying to take it. I was gagging, coughing, spluttering, couldn't keep it down. And then one morning I woke up, I just asked myself, I said, what are you doing? You spent 4 years in a university teaching you how to research, and how to formulate your hypotheses and prove it wrong. I said, and you're fanning around with powders and stuff that, So then I went to a resource called the Cochrane Library. It's where all experiments are published and printed, so peers can go back and replicate the experiments, etc. Put a search term in, pain, inflammation, again, turmeric and ginger, and I read the protocols for the experimental data. And by this time, I decided that I was going to go with a natural products rather than a synthetic or artificial. Because what I'd learned, the reason why the tablets and the powders weren't working was because the synthetic, there's very little active ingredient in them, and they're full of bulkers and fillers. Our bodies, period, point blank, cannot process those synthetic products and potions. So the products are based on theory, but in practice, they're made synthetically. The other thing is, a lot of the products, they take out one component. In turmeric, for example, there are over 235 active ingredients, active components. Right. But the pharmaceuticals, the supplement manufacturers will have you believe that only one component is any value, and that's curcumin.
Right.
All the research that I found showed you that your body can't process one product on its own.
All right. Okay.
And if it's synthetic, it absolutely can't process it.
Interesting.
Makes a lot of sense.
That's interesting.
So I've learned that. So so by now I'm thinking, right, I need a natural product. And I was able to, from the experimental data, I was able to replicate the amount of active ingredient that I needed from a natural organic product to equal what they were talking about in the experimental protocol synthetically. And that's how I came up with my recipe.
That's amazing.
So it is about a certain amount of quantities and everything to get there.
It is. However, I'm now of the opinion and the belief, and this is all anecdotal because I don't have scientific equipment, I don't have tests, but I'm thinking it's less about precise amounts and more about just taking the products.
Right. Okay.
Because the thing, if you are suffering with a condition, if you do present with symptoms, then you probably need more of that active ingredient than you ordinarily get just through your diet.
Yeah.
To fix
the issue.
Yeah. You need, but if you don't present with a symptom, then just any amount that you eat is going to prevent.
Yes.
Rather than later down the line, trying to cure something.
Yeah.
If that makes sense.
Yes. So some's better than none.
Some's better than none.
And then obviously a little bit more.
And your body will process what it needs, even if you went overboard.
You can't overdose on it.
Yeah, because it's natural.
It's natural. You can't overdose on it.
Yeah.
And people talk about, see your doctor before you take this supplement. If you take this supplement, see your doctor. What they really should be saying is, if you're taking an artificial, synthetically produced, concentrated compound, then see your doctor.
That's what I was just about to say.
But if you're taking a natural product, it's like saying don't go and eat any apples, don't go and eat any celery.
Exactly.
What's all that about?
So
exactly.
does that, can I just bring in there? So them natural products and everything else. So was it your mum who used to make stuff with the natural products?
Right. So I've now found my product. I'm taking it and I'm feeling really good. People around me can't believe the change in me. They're saying, "What have you done?"
Wow.
What? And I tell them, and most went, "Oh, are you? Yeah, right." But one or two said, "Can we try it?" I've got a sore shoulder, I've got a sore knee, I've got night sweats, I've got irritable bowel, and they got the same results I got.
Really?
Within days, they come, "I can't believe it, I'm better," and they passed it forward, and their friends that they passed it forward to, they passed it forward. So I started off. I used to make about a litre for myself in my little 70 centilitre pot. I do 2 or 3 brews. But after about 2 months, I was doing about 8 litres a week. And I'm thinking, this is crazy. I'm just giving it out to all these people.
Oh, so at this point, you're just making it and giving it. Oh, right, okay.
So my partner said to me, you need to share this with more people. This could be a little business. It could be out in the community.
Yeah.
So she helped me formulate a plan, and she said, you need someone to help you with the marketing. So I talked to a guy called Dan. His business is called Chasing Flags. And Dan says, right, we need an origin story. I said, well, I haven't got one. He says, well, yeah, everyone's got one. Yeah. And he took me through this workshop that he does. And then all just came out. Everything just came out. I can remember one of my earliest memories of health is wealth, and it was on a poster at the local swimming baths. And I went home. I might have been about 10 or 11. I asked Mum, "What's that mean? Health is wealth." And Mum told me, she said, "If you're not healthy and strong, you can't look after yourself, and you can't look after other people." She said, "Your health is your responsibility.
Fantastic.
You need to master this." And then I can also remember at an even younger age, every few weeks, every couple of months, a parcel would arrive from Jamaica. Me and my sisters and my brother would sit around, and Mum would undo this parcel, and it would be full of all different herbs and spices and things that you couldn't get at that time in the supermarket like you can now. There'd be seriously. There'd be turmeric, hibiscus. We call it sorrel. You call it hibiscus.
Yeah.
But there'd be plenty of different herbs and spices, and there might even be a flask of white rum for Dad.
Yeah, there's a little something for Dad.
Yeah, and Mum, I don't feel. Mum would just go to the cupboard. We call them bush teas. You call them herbs, and she just get a bush, put in a saucepan, water. Here you are, Mum, I've got a headache. And so she always went straight to the food cupboard.
Your mum knew about natural remedies.
Yeah. So I come from a culture where using plants and herbs as a medicine is normal.
Whereas here,
well, the thing is, now we live in a society now where they don't want you to know this information.
Yeah.
I mean, I have heard in Diff Wasco, they reckon there's a plant or a herb on the planet for every condition that could ever happen to you.
That's what I've heard.
And that plant or herb will grow within 100 kilometre radius of where you live.
Amazing.
So everything's there.
Everything is there. We've just forgotten.
Exactly.
We just don't remember. We just don't know. We've lost that knowledge. But if you remember, before we could move around and travel freely, we had to be able to sustain ourselves with it.
Yeah.
It makes sense.
Yeah, it does make sense.
It makes sense. I believe that there must be something in the UK that has the same strength and potency as turmeric, which grows in the Asias.
Gotcha.
Yeah,
That's but we don't know what it is.
Yeah.
I don't know where
it
it
would
is.
make sense though, because everything's naturally provided for us. Mother Nature provides for us.
Yeah, that's what I believe. So going back to, did I think, and also because of my sports and my background, I've always eaten. You read and you gain knowledge and experience. I've always eaten well. When I went to university as a mature student, we had to do a food diary. And we recorded all our food, and then it was sent for analysis at another university. And when my diet report came back, I exceeded all the daily minimum requirements for every category of nutrient. So that's been my life.
Yeah.
I also knew at that time that supplements were a waste of time. Being in athletics and sports and bodybuilding, I could see people taking enhancing drugs and I was competing against a lot of these guys and still beating them. So I just knew that what I was doing naturally was good for me at that point and will be good for me throughout my whole life.
Yeah, makes sense.
So
because obviously over the last few years, people would have seen on the supermarket shelf, and we know it's not as natural as your product and it's full of crap, but there has been a conscious awareness of a more natural solution. So like even like health shops. I mean, I don't remember like a Holland and Barrett and all these type of shops grow. So I think there is like you'll go around the supermarket and you will see natural stores. So there seems to be a bit of an awakening of people are saying, look, this is the way people used to do it. Or
how natural are these things though as well, Cornel? I mean, are they
when you talk about natural, are you talking about
the supplements? Yeah. Because you all looked into it, wouldn't you? You would have used them.
Yeah, I stopped using supplements.
Yeah,
I stopped using. As I got older and I've done more research, there's research out there that shows today that more than 50% of the supplements you buy off the shelves don't even contain the product that they say is in them.
Yeah.
Just marketing again.
But because I mean, my missus, she's a typical. She'll go around the supermarket. She'll go down the aisle where the vitamins are or something, and she'll buy first of all she'll buy the cheapest ones, right? And she'll say, "Oh, they're all the same, but as long as I'm getting my," and I'm like, "I bet there's nothing in them. I bet there's absolutely."
That's half of them, and the other half are synthetic, which your body just can't process.
Yeah,
and I found research study, some out of Germany, some out of Italy, and they call them plant food supplements, and they go A to Z and they list all the adverse effects associated with every single one of them.
Yeah. See, this comes in again. So we talk a lot and try to explain to people the power of the angle that you look at things from, right? Because like we could be speaking to someone now about like healthy vitamins or juice, and they might turn around and say, "Oh no, I've tried all that; it doesn't work."
Yeah,
and so they've formulated their opinion then. But then the question should have been, well, which one did you take?
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Because if they could have been, oh no, I've tried all them off the shelf, and the thing is, but you're not taking the right stuff because they might not realise, look, that stuff is actually full of crap.
Yeah.
Well, it affects in your body.
There is one company, he calls himself, I think it's British Supplements. He's an English guy based out of Ireland, and his marketing collateral every day, he bangs about how his is clean supplements, but he also prints and shows what the other supplement companies are doing. You know, bulkers, fillers, synthetic products, and he bangs on about it all day long. None of them sue him. None of them pull down his stuff.
Well, I suppose they can't if the truth's there.
If the truth's there, you can't.
So he's saying stuff that I've known and believed for a long time.
Do you know what? I just was just thinking there. So one of my first, because I've never really known that much about it, but I remember once I'd cut myself or I had a burn or something, and I was at a friend's house, and they went to the kitchen. And they cut off an aloe vera plant, and they rubbed it all over my hand. The gel, it was like a gel, and out the plant, squeezed it on. And I'm not joking. I've never known anything heal. Yeah, and it was amazing. And I always said, I'm gonna get me some of that. So it's just amazing, this natural stuff. And
nature is wonderful.
It's nature,
exactly. So
I love the inspiration though that you flatly refuse, because that takes bravery in itself. You know, the fact that you flatly refuse to and you were going to fix yourself. Because I had an issue with anxiety and a burnout at the beginning of the year. I lost my business at the end of last year, and we've had this conversation, and I went through the process speaking to the doctor and this, that, and the other again, and they're like, right, you're going to prescribe you this, that, and the other, and I'm like, no, I'm not having it. I'll fix myself. Yeah. I'm going to do this, and then I'm going to teach people how to fix themselves, because I'm not having any drugs. I don't want them.
If we could just backtrack to your story a little bit there. So you've started making this juice. I know you've been giving it to other people and everything else, and you've started taking it. Yeah. How long would you say, like, you thought, something's happening here?
From the second day.
Really? That quick?
Right. People often ask me, how long does it take to work? And I say immediately. Yeah. And look at me and they go like, no. And the reason why I say immediately, because in 2021, I had a full thickness tear to my rotator cuff. And it needed surgery to fix. So when I had the surgery, they pinned the rotator cuff. I had subacromial decompression, AC reconstruction. Immediately following surgery, the nurses come round and say, all right, okay, Mr. Sampson, here's your pills. And I said, no, I don't want it. I flatly refused to take post-surgery drugs. I said, I'm going to break protocol. And I had some of my juice, and I started drinking my juice. Now, I thought I was all right. I've got this on video. I'll show you later. Yeah. But I thought I was all right, but I was still drunk from the anaesthetic. And I've got a straw, and I can't get the straw in the bottle to start. And then I get something, and it drops down. Anyway, so the block wore off after 12 hours. And the block was from my ear all the way down to this arm. And it's about midnight, the same day after surgery, 12 hours. I took 35 ml of my turmeric juice, did a little bit of mindfulness, breathing, and I fell asleep for 2 hours, zero pain. So the pain went from 10 out of 10 to 0.
That's unbelievable.
Within minutes. And I slept for 2 hours and pain started building up again. I had another shot, 35 ml, another 2 hours sleep. I did that for 2 nights. Every 2 hours throughout the night, just having 35 ml. The third night, I took 50 ml and I slept for 5 hours. Zero pain. A week after surgery, I was doing planks. And 2 weeks after surgery, I was doing assisted pull-ups.
Whoa, I can't do that now.
And after 3 months, I went back to Dr. Sarni to be signed off. And he said, Mr. Sampson, he said, you inspire me. He said, you do more in 3 months on your shoulder than most of my clients do after a year.
That's amazing.
And I said, all I took post-surgery was natural product. I had my drink. I took fruit and veg and water. I was eating loads of raw honey. That's all I took.
But there can be no greater advert for your product than the fact that you've done it yourself.
Exactly.
And I look like this.
Yeah, because the thing is, if you go to someone, drink this, and then you say, well, why? And you go, because of this. Mm-hmm. Yeah. This, like, you know, you can't expect other people but you know what I mean? Yeah. So do you know what? It's amazing because we talk about the universe and things have to happen. Now, it's a shame that it happened to your shoulder, and it's a shame that you had to go through that experience, but look at the story, the mess to the message. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Look what come out of it. Yeah. You literally put your product and said, look, I'm going to do this. and it worked. So everything happens for a reason.
Everything does. Everyone's journey is, and like you said, it's about turning that mess into a message. Your message is incredible.
Yeah.
Powerful.
So people, like I said, so people ask me how quick does it work? I tell them that story.
Yeah.
I can tell you more stories. I've had customers come to, when I had a market stall, they come and have a sample and say to me, how soon does this work? I tell them that little story about my shoulder, and the guy says, well, I'm an electrician and I've got repetitive strain injury in my index finger.
Yeah.
And he said, when I came out this morning, I couldn't do this. I've had this drink now and I can do that.
Wow.
That's people at my store after one shot. And I can give you stories from every single day that I've been out talking to potential customers who come back and feedback to me.
Do you think, and I don't mean this, and I just gospel from a point, do you think there's a little bit of element of like a placebo effect?
Who cares?
I know. Well, no, do you know what? No, I don't. No. This is the thing. But I also like a listicle treatment. Sometimes you can't prove it, but
I don't think it is placebo effect, and I'll tell you why. So I started taking that, and by the second day, my pain was going down and down. By the end of the week, my pain was at like 2 out of 10.
Yeah.
And I thought, I can live with that. You know, the stuff I've done, that's all right, no problem. I can live with that. I'm just taking 2 shots a day, 35 ml. I'm doing this for several weeks. And then, and this is before I'm giving it to other people. I'm just making it for myself. I'm at home. I'm just trying to get myself back into a bit of shape. And then I run out. And I thought, I'll make some more at weekend. And then the weekend came and went. And I didn't make it. And then they've got to the following weekend and the pain's going up all the time. I'm like, oh God.
So now you're seeing a result.
So I went and bought some more products and I made the drink, started taking it. And you know, Kev, it took 2 episodes like that before I realised
exactly. That's what I was after.
Exactly what was happening.
Yeah.
I thought, wow. Yeah. When I take it, I'm okay. When I don't take it,
so you had the proof there for yourself.
It was, but it took 2 episodes of that before I realised. And now, if you anecdotally, I have people that they take the product regularly, they go on holiday, they don't take it with them. And they're like, wow. Or people think, it's in my head this, I don't need this. They stop taking it within 3 days, 4 days, the pains, the ailments, the symptoms start to progress.
Yeah. No, that makes a lot more sense. And so if we take it back again, so you've had your shoulder, you've started taking the juice, it's working, you've been making mixtures, now you've been giving it out to free to people to help it out. Now you've realised, well, I'm doing a lot here, actually. I'm making a lot, I'm giving a lot. And obviously we know as well, and people, we see this in all different subjects. People, this is how sometimes businesses start as well.
Of course it is, yeah.
You think, God, there seems to be a demand. Or, you know, and I love doing this and I've got a story behind it. And so then you needed to take it on to the next stage.
That's why Big Pharma's the biggest in the world, mate, because there is demand. People's health is like, so if you know, the natural side of things, if you can get that going naturally.
So is this what did you say before? Is this where your partner played a role because she said
massive?
Yeah.
Instigated the whole.
So talk us through that bit. So how do we go from giving it away to everyone for free to realising, and what was that next step? What was that next stage?
So I needed a little bit of money to help fund the development because I actually made my own equipment to produce it in.
Okay.
I've got an engineering background and I use a combination of pressure and heat and pressing to produce that.
Oh, that's amazing.
So I needed some money to scale up the size of the equipment. So I took a short contract job with the Blackpool DWP. So, but that was great because people there were taking herbal teas, and I was like, "Can you mind if I have a look at one?" And it's like, no active ingredient. I said, "I've got something that's probably do the same as this." And her name is Sue. She tried it. She said, "Oh my God, after 3 days, I can't believe the difference it's making." So Sue told another couple of friends and they started ordering it from me.
Word of mouth is so powerful.
And I was supplying about 5 or 6 litres a week to various people in the office. I was there about 6 or 8 months. So I'm getting some money from the work so I can invest it in scaling the business. And then her name's Catherine. She runs, she's a virtual PA, runs a quality time PA services. She says, she put onto Dan who got my origin story, my marketing plan.
Yeah.
She introduced me to Sam, who designed my packaging based on my origin story and the name, etc. Yeah. And we'll talk more about the name.
Yeah, please.
Later. And then Catherine says, right. She said, you need to be selling this somewhere now. And she went and found a sort of premises in Rottenstall, which used to be a butcher's shop with a walk-in fridge.
Is Sam your partner? Sorry, was Sam the partner?
Sam Gadd is the guy that designed the packaging.
Oh, sorry. So what would you put?
Catherine.
So Catherine, I just tried to get the names right. So Catherine's the partner. Sam's Dan's the marketing.
Dan marketing.
Yeah. Okay.
Sam. Yeah. Okay. And so she found these premises. She said it'd be ideal for you. It used to be a butcher shop because the idea was going to be to produce that, offer samples, but also I had ideas for incorporating turmeric and ginger into soups, sauces, marinades, into cakes, and all sorts.
So you had a bigger plan there.
So and then she said, I've got you a stall on the market as well. So why is she on the market 2 days a week? The rest of the time you can come and fix a shop up. I'm like, I'd done a previous course. I'd done a course previous to that with Lancaster University. Lancaster's just completed the Health Innovation Campus, multi-million-pound facility. And one of its core objectives is to facilitate people who can help the community in health within
That's
health.
Interesting. That's powerful.
So I completed a course with them, and it helped me identify my ideal client. My ideal client was somebody with aches and pains, some kind of inflammatory symptom. They tried other things, but had been unsuccessful. So they'd done all the research, looking for the product, and money was no problem. People never asked me how much it was. They just said, can I try it? Can I try it? Yeah. I said, yeah. So I said to Catherine, that's my client avatar. They're not going to be on Rottenstall Market. Your local granny with no disrespect to grannies like, but with a little wheelie bag and stuff like that. She said, get on the market. So I went down the market, and I'm not joking. I put samples out. I put my little leaflets and marketing collateral around. Nobody needed to be educated. Oh, I've read about turmeric. Oh, this tastes all right. And what I found was I made some sales immediately, but someone go, how much is it? It's £20 a litre. Are you here tomorrow? Are you here next week?
Yeah.
But every single one came back.
Oh, did they? Well, that's good.
Every single one came. And you can imagine that you come out with a budget.
Yeah.
You buy a few things, and then you see this, that you're not expecting to spend another 20, 30 quid on. And they came back. And it was like that. I did Thursday, Saturday, sales just keep going out. And all the other traders around me, it's quiet today, or it's dead. But I was doing 10, 12, 15, 20 litres at a time each day in the market. And then week 3, week 4, my first sales started coming back and telling me, my psoriasis is better. My bloating is better. I'm off Gaviscon. I've stopped taking Tramadol. My knees don't hurt as much. I've no ailments, but my head's just clearer. My night sweats are a thing of the past. And it's just one after the other, one after the other. And then one of my customers, she said, she called me and said, I can't believe the difference it's made in 3 days. Can we stop this in our shop? I'm like, yeah. So that's how I got my first retail partner. And then about 2 or 3 weeks later, another one rang me. I've heard about this product. I've got my mum's on it. Can I stop this in my shop? So I got the Potato Man. And so now we've got to the end of the year. The research material I've gathered, companies pay thousands for that type of feedback, the product, how it works, how the packaging looks, your pricing model, your message, everything, we ticked every box, came off there and decided not to open as a shop, but just to manufacture and then pursue a wholesale model. So 12 months later, I've got 25 retail partners.
Wow.
All stocking the product.
Nice.
A few months ago, I had my first inbound call. I've heard about your product. I've seen it on Facebook. I've seen somebody else stocking it. Can I stock it?
Fantastic.
And just before that, I went into a couple of businesses to present myself and asked to see the owner or the decision maker. And as I pulled my little flyer out, we know who you are. We've seen your stuff. So it's like all these little wow moments along the way.
But you see, like, so like when you're talking there, I can't help but think, so like, we want to, with the Drake Michigan platform, what we do is we're trying to teach people, and your story and your life is exactly what we're about, for the simple reason. So you took your mess, like, so there'll be people now who are listening and looking at it, and they'll say, well, what can I do? I don't know what I want to do in my life. I don't know what I can do. But sometimes you don't have to look very far than yourself, right? Yeah. What have you been through? What has happened to me, right? So you took your mess at the time and you decided, and then this is the thing as well. So now you had inspiration, you had a thought, you had ideas, right? And then you put it into action, because that's the type of person you are. Okay. So now, and then what's happened then is you've had people surround you, good people, and this is the power. We have to teach this: the power of good people around you, because otherwise it wouldn't have happened. But the universe brings these people around you. Now, you might, when all this has been happening to you over the last couple of years, you might have not looked at it from that angle. Like from me, I would be looking at it like, even though you're the person doing the work, if you like, I would be, have you seen how everything's aligning here? This is unbelievable. So now you're talking, and then what's important then is, so we talk about turning your mess into a message, then narrowing down your dot, right? Then you said yourself when you was talking to me, your perfect client. Well, your perfect client was you 3 years earlier, right? Because that will always be your perfect client. No, maybe not 3 years, sometimes it could be 5 years, but ultimately your perfect client was you before, when you were in the mess. And who better to sell the product than the person who had to go through the mess? Now the thing is, and this is where the inspiration comes from, because now you can serve and save somebody going through them years of pain and suffering that you had to go through. Now, unfortunately, you had to go through it. Unfortunately. But you know what? Innovators, leaders, they only ever get to where they are through mistakes, failures, and having to go through crappy experiences. But the thing is, the power of that is what you do with it. Now, when you can turn your mess into a message and serve people and narrow down the dot and then create what you've done, then for me, there can be no greater job. There can be no greater reward.
I was going to say, Cornel, so you must have had, at that point where people are coming back to you with that feedback spiritually, you're lifting them because you're helping people. People are coming to you, you just saved me.
It was a really humbling experience, actually, like on the market, because 9 out of 10 would come to you and it's like, I'm back walking, I can play with my grandkids now. One lady says, you know what, I started knitting again.
Oh, that's amazing.
So you had that side, and then you had the other one, the other side where they come to you and they break down and they're in tears. And you've got to come round and put an arm around them. And they're telling you, I've had 3 botched operations on my knee. They tell me I need to build up the muscle, but I can't do anything because the pain is just too much. And she says, now I'm swimming 3 kilometres twice a week.
And the thing is, okay, look, we live in the Western world and you have to be a realist as well, right? You can't go many weeks with no money and before someone's knocking on your door for the bills, right? But what we're talking about is spiritually and inside of you, the feeling that you get from helping others. You can't put a price tag on it. So if I could just say one thing now is there'll be people who listen and at the moment their life is in a mess. They'll be going through a very difficult period. And sometimes it's hard to see past that. Or you might have just been told by a doctor, you can't do this anymore, or you're not going to, the future's bleak, right? But then you hear the inspiration. You hear somebody who comes out of it the other side. You hear somebody who says, listen, I was once there. And it doesn't have to be like that. And that's the power of your message. It's the power of what Drake, Michigan's all about.
But you were a master as well.
And you have mastered self.
It's mastered self.
Do you know what I mean? Which, I mean, we're going to talk about philosophy and everything after, because, I mean, Plato said the greatest failure is if you don't master yourself.
Yeah.
So, I mean, when you're talking about your shoulder and healing yourself, I was thinking of Bruce Lee when he broke his back and he healed, and because there's a great story there as well. I think overall it's just
very inspiring.
It's inspiring.
Yeah.
So now if we pick up your story again, so what you've done is, so now you've met these fantastic people, they've all supported you, you've got your product now, and at this stage are you still making it all yourself?
I still make it all myself today.
Oh, today, so you're still making it all yourself?
That's an interesting story as well, if you'd like to hear it.
Yeah.
So,
we want to hear it all.
So I nearly got sucked in by business coaches. So I've done the course at the university. They say talk to people from Boost Lancashire, etc., and they assign you a business coach, and they say talk to somebody from the Northwest Chamber, and they have you writing a business plan, and well, first of all, the business plan you write, and I'd like to see any new business say that they followed the plan that they wrote out, because the business plan was wrote by or invented by an existing business owner running a business who had data to transcribe into a new SKU.
Yeah.
But somebody said, you know what, that's a great idea. If you want to start a business, you've got to follow that protocol. And that's why it doesn't work like that. So that's the first thing I learned. I did the process, but when you look at what they told me I needed to put down, my business is nothing like that. But then talking to the business coach, wow, that's great. Yeah, you've got this drink that does that. What else have you got? Oh, I don't know. And that's partly how that and a third product came out. But it pulled me away from what I was doing. Then he said, right, you got to look at people that can it for you, 10,000 bottles a day, and you need someone to make it for you. So you can scale up and you can just go and be the face of the business. I'm like, all right. So they introduced me to a drinks manufacturer based in Burnley. So I went across the sea, made an appointment across the sea, and introduced my product to him. And he said, okay, all right, this is the process. You give me your recipe. I'll replicate it. Once we've replicated it and we're happy with it, we'll do the testing so that we can then give it to the public. So you've got to do shelf life testing, stability, and all of those things. And I said, okay, go. At the same time, I was listening to a podcast about a guy called GT Dave, who developed the first kombucha drink. And today, globally, he is the largest independent manufacturer of kombucha. He started about 25, 30 years ago. The drinks manufacturer, he made the drink. And he called me and I looked at it, I said, that's not my drink. Mm-hmm. He tried to tell me it was. And then when I tasted it, I said, it's definitely not my drink. And he actually changed the recipe. And he used cheaper products, try and make it more profitable. We had a massive fallout, right? Yeah. And at the same time, GT Dave said that people were approaching him. He was in local shops. Yeah. People were approaching him and saying, wow, what a great product you got here. We've got to make it sweeter so more people will like it. We've got to make it cheaper so we can get more products like that. And he batted them all away. And he decided to keep control himself so he could always make... His drink, kombucha, was based on a traditional method, and it actually cured his mother of terminal cancer. Doctor said your cancer's terminal. But they stuck to their principles, they stuck to their culture, their beliefs, and she got better. And the only regime they changed was by adding the kombucha drinks to their diet. Great. So I listened to what to GT Dave said about his drink. I've decided to keep control of my business. I'm not interested.
You're keeping true to your authentic self then.
Yeah. Profit.
Well, you don't want to water down something that's going to fix someone, do you? What's the point?
Yeah. So, but then, so I had another couple more business coaches coming on, and I just I said, look, you haven't asked me what I want. Yeah. I don't want to be in the high street, Holland and Barrett. I don't want to be, supplying 1,000 supermarkets. I just want to be working with my community. And my business model now is based around working with independent businesses that serve the local community. Yeah. When I go and talk to them, they tell me the stories about their customers coming back and saying, well, this has happened to me now, and just keep it local.
See, the thing is what it is there, that's like you're being true, your authentic self, but also as well, you're finding your happiness there.
Yeah.
It's not being taken away from you by other people and other people's opinions and all the rest of it. And you can understand why a lot of people probably do get sucked into that kind of thing.
Yeah.
But this is where I explain as well, not everybody wants to be in front of a camera. Not everybody wants to be on telly. No. Not everybody wants to be a multimillionaire.
Yeah.
And so this is a thing as well. It's about where your level of happiness,
your success,
success
define what success is.
Exactly.
In hindsight, the business coach, the drinks manufacturer, it was all about them. That business coach probably had 10, 15, 20 clients he's working with, and he just wanted one to make it big. And he would have rolled on the back of them. Or, look what I've done.
Dragon's Den, that's what they do, isn't it?
So he's playing the odds. Whereas me, I'm just one person all in.
Yeah.
And I need it to be successful. I need it to
with
work.
your ethics.
Exactly. So I just, can I swear on this? I told them what to do. The business coach, the guy who made the drinks manufacturer, I really went to town on them. And I talk about it publicly. I name them shame. I do it publicly.
Oh, good for you.
Yeah, good for you. Again, standing in your truth again.
So let's just go back to. So at the moment, so are these the two main flavors, or these two?
All right. So what happened was, Revive Mind Body. I started doing the drink. People were getting benefits from it. I looked at my past and my culture, and really, we've forgotten or given up the responsibility for our own health. And Revive Mind Body is about reviving our body's natural ability to heal itself.
Right.
So it goes beyond the drink. It goes how we live holistically. It goes how much sleep, how much fresh water, who we associate with, what our job is, do we walk, or our activities, our hobbies, our relationships, where we work. It's all of those things work towards. And I came up with, I've got 3 pillars, where which Revive is built on. And the pillars about sustaining and maintaining good health. It's creating good health, maintaining good health, and maintaining good mental health as well. One of the guys said, what else have you got? Put a little idea into my head. And I thought, okay, so that product is restorative. What about something for performance? And research came up with beetroot.
Oh, right, yes.
So
I've heard a lot about the colour red and beet, and apparently it's very powerful.
So, and athletes already use beetroot. There's loads of research that shows that, on average, people using beetroot improve their athletic performance by between 2 and 8%.
Right.
Okay.
Fantastic.
And then I thought, okay, so we've got restorative performance, something for cognitive health. So I started researching what products would give you good cognitive health, able to cross the blood-brain barrier, produce happy hormones, suppress. And at the end of my research, I concluded that I already have the 2 strongest products on the market for cognitive health.
Very good.
So I stopped it there. And we talk about what I actually want. I don't want to have, a whole stew of different products, juggling. But I just like the fact it's just simple.
See, I did a bit of research, and I'm going to do a bit of a joke here, because if you mix Prozac and fluoride, apparently that's good for your your cognitive.
If you want to stay in the matrix, there you go.
If you overfill your head with Prozac and the fluoride, you'll vote Conservatives. No, I'm just joking. I'm not getting political or whatever. No, so these two combined.
You're right.
Is
so whilst it's anecdotal, based on research, I was quite fit before I started doing that, but my resting heart rate has dropped by 3 beats per minute. My resting heart rate has dropped by 3 beats per minute since I've been taking the beetroot. And I time my rides and any activities I do. I've got my data.
Yeah, that's very good.
And I started noticing that I was doing my regular circuits in the same time with less perceived effort, or I was smashing the times. And 2 weeks ago, I was out on my bike. I've got a 1 mile hill climb. From bottom to top is 1 mile. And my heart rate topped out at 197. If anybody understands the relationship between effort and heart rate, working, even if you age adjust it, you find very few 20-year-olds doing that. 197, and I wasn't falling off at the other end. I had to recover and carried on the rest of my ride. Wow. The only thing I've done different is include my beetroot. The properties of beetroot, people use that to control blood pressure. The active ingredients in beetroot relax the muscles of the blood vessels. This is only one of the properties.
Yeah.
Relaxing the muscles of the blood pressure. So it means that more blood can go through with less effort from your heart. Therefore, you're not creating as much pressure.
Yeah.
If more blood's going through, there's more oxygen, more nutrients, more complements, more protein, and more waste is being taken away. And then the list just goes on with all the antioxidants, effects, etc.
Yeah.
So in the morning, could you take did you say 35 ml you recommended?
Yeah. So we're conditioned to think that if we have a symptom, we find something to fix it, and it's usually a pill or a tablet or something, and that comes in a dose.
Yeah.
And I'm partly to blame for this. So when I did my research, I thought 35 ml twice a day would deliver the right amount of active ingredients to see a medicinal effect. That said, at some point I was drinking half a litre a day. Because I'm still active, I'm still riding my bike, I'm still pushing myself, and sometimes little niggles are coming back. So I was drinking more. And
so could you take that one and that one in the same day, or
I mix them if you mix them together, add raw honey, it tastes like Vimto without the saccharin.
Beautiful.
So on hot days, or on days I'm doing my rides, or if we're going out walking in the hills, I'll put them both in the water bottle with some honey, top it up with some filtered water, and sip it throughout the day.
Yeah.
Our body is constantly under stress. You guys are under stress now. I mean, you're sat in my aura.
Exactly.
It's bound to be impacted on you, So because we're being stressed all the time, it then makes sense to just keep topping up the ingredients that are going to help you cope with those stress.
So would it be possible to have this in like a more concentrated, and because some of them do, where you add like a little bit of water,
right?
Or do you drink this one straight from here, don't you?
Or put it in hot water, add some honey, have it like a tea.
Oh, so you can add this one to other stuff.
Add it to your soups, your gravies. When I'm cooking, we just put some in the sauce.
You can so there's a number of ways. Yeah,
it's just food.
Yeah,
real food as well.
But most people are so conditioned.
Yeah.
That it's a dose. It's a dose. I'll take my dose now.
But that comes back to when we started the conversation about social conditioning and the people are just trained a certain way. They never even. Yeah. People don't even try that many different foods these days, do they?
Realise they are conditioned.
No, that's half the problem, isn't it? So do you think at the foreseeable future stick with these two? Or did you say you're thinking about this?
I do have another product which I bought for you guys as a present.
Oh, bless you.
I call it my blend. And it's the same recipe as that, but in a paste form.
Oh, yeah.
And I marinate my meat, chicken, fish, vegetables with it. I put it in sauces, soaps, gravies. I put it in my scrambled eggs. If I'm making a pita bread, I put it in the dough mixture. You put it everywhere. And it's just a really cool way to get enough active ingredient without the turmeric and ginger being like overpowering or...
I like it.
Because a lot of people don't like particular taste. It can be funny. I mean, I love it, but I can imagine.
Yeah.
So that'd be a brilliant alternative.
So it's not a problem, but it's harder and longer to make, and the price point. I'm not paying that. More people thinking I'm not paying that.
Yeah.
So I sort of shelved it. However, there are lots of turmeric products on the market for pets and animals, in horse feeds, dog foods, etc. And the current Horse of the Year winner, pony winner, he was on my revived blend 2 weeks before he won again this year to calm down an infection.
Great testimonial.
His owner wants me to market that blend for the horse and hound.
Yeah.
See, because I mean, the thing is that, to be fair, I think once people realise the benefits of it, price goes out the window. Because how can you put a price on?
For most people, and they're my ideal clients.
Do you remember your message from your mum? Healthy as well. But you can't put a price on it, can you?
Not on health, you can't.
So and there's nothing stopping me doing a similar product for that. So I might do that. I might not. I have people are approaching me and talk about the drinks and the drinks that they have. So I can see an opportunity for collaboration and work together that way.
Well, I was just about to ask you, because I noticed on your website before, I mean, you're already supplying it was like 25 places. Now, obviously, in any business, there comes a time when there's only so much you can do. So, what happens is, like, if another 5 or another 10 people, like companies that you agree with, but then suddenly they want it, and then so what's your have you thought about that? Have you thought about the plans?
As we sit here now, I have equipment still in the packing case. I've got a vacuum sealing machine still in shrink wrap. I've got a compressor and pouch filling machine still in the case. I've got an automated chopping machine, which is in my van right now.
So you've got the scope to produce and do more.
Yeah. I've looked at it, and at the moment I'm doing around just under 300 litres a month, and I'm going to grow it to 1,000 litres a month. That's on my vision board.
That's your short-term goal.
That's my short-term goal, 1,000 litres a month.
More than doable.
Vision board. And then after that, I have to decide how I want to move forward.
As long as it keeps your ethics, though, right?
Well, I was going to say to you, so like I know in business, so this is where it becomes tricky further down the line, because at some point you have to or what happens is you have to put sort of trust in others.
Yeah.
And that's hard. Because like you said, you don't want to lose control. In fact, you want to oversee every ingredient. You want to oversee.
Have you heard of Fitzpatrick?
Yes. Fitzpatrick.
So the owner of Fitzpatrick, he tried my juice and in the very early days, and we got quite friendly. And I asked him if he would help me with the business. Could I visit his manufacturing factory? He said, yeah, of course you can. So they gave me a factory tour, and his operations manager, Anne-Marie, she told me the A to Z about how they run. They export to 6 different countries.
Right.
And, they supply wholesale and retail. So that was about nearly a year ago. 2 weeks ago, I went to see Anne-Marie again, and I put to her these questions. How do I go about recruiting staff? How do you get staff that won't steal your recipes and go off? And we talked about all, because they've been in business for years and years. So I already know now the pains that they've been through and how they've managed those pains. So I've got the benefit of their experience.
Good.
So I know in my mind I have a model of how we'll expand, how we'll scale up. I know what we're looking for in partners and employees, etc.
Brilliant, Cornel. Are you selling locally at the moment then, in sort of like the Lancashire, Greater Manchester?
You can get it from
but I mean, is it just that?
So I was thinking, you start thinking, you think global, but you work local. So I started in Rosendale. 3 or 4, Ramsbottom, Burnley, and then I actually live in Preston, so I'm now in Garstang, I'm in Chorley, I'm in Southport, I'm in Leyland, Penritham.
And do you do all the delivering and that yourself as well? Are you doing everything?
Catherine helps me. Catherine helps me. But it's, as you know yourself from business, it's like, what's the next step? Yeah. What do we do now? And you start off doing absolutely everything yourself. Yeah. Now, Catherine's team of admin support, they're doing the phone calls for me. They're checking up with my partners. Do you need stock at the moment?
That's right.
She's helping me with my invoicing and tracking. So we're now putting systems in place to manage the next phase of growth.
And have you ever thought, because like just speaking to you now, I think it'd be a great like seminar, as in like to listen. I think people would really want to listen to that. Yeah. The fact that there's a product at the end of it as well, great. Yeah. But just the fact that the story, how you've turned, how it's worked, I just think it's a great.
You know how we talked earlier off camera about vision boards, etc., my board, etc. So on my board is podcasting, interviewing. And I've already reached out to a few people. There's a chap who he's chief scout for Baker Borough. He's also a biomechanic, working with elite athletes, etc. So he's interested in my drink, interested in my story, and I want to be on his podcast. Yeah, so I'm already reaching out and making people important. Like that. When you came to us at the Standish show, it was already, it's on my board. Fantastic. And it's already part of my.
Because I mean, my first is obviously we have our model and everything else, but. So like we know, like this year, I think we've said like hopefully by sort of April, we'll probably be introducing things like 3-day workshops. Mm-hmm. But over the course of that workshops, like there'll probably be a couple of hours where I'm talking, a few hours where someone else is talking, and then what you want is inspirational figures and stories like yourself, where they say, right, there's a slot here, and Cornel's going to come in, he's going to tell you his story. Mm-hmm. He's going to watch, and then the thing is as well, you've already got your clientele who they're already on that vibration. They understand. So then suddenly what happens is they come and have a chat with you after, and they say, "Hey, do I get some of that? I want to try that." That kind of thing. But as well, so the product's one thing, but the story's a powerful story as well. Do you know what I mean?
So we talked about we mentioned earlier about the actual product itself and how it's moved from just being a drink to helping people realize that you can heal yourself. We can revive our body's natural ability to heal itself. So I was thinking, how can I help more people to understand this message? And my plan was to hold wellness events similar to the ones that we attended, and help the public who come to see the other holistic therapists. And my plan was, my model was going to be each of the store holders go through what I've been through. They've got all these different hats to wear to get their product to that event and venue. Some can do it okay, some can't do it at all. So I thought somebody like Dan, somebody like Sam, somebody like Catherine, we could put a package together that can help them market, promote, tell their story, and then we could have venues or events moving around, and they could do we thought maybe a subscription model that would include all this additional help plus 3, 4, 5, 6 venues a year. So that was sort of like what we sort of talked around and threshed out. The other side then is like, sometimes I think, do I really want the hassle of dealing with somebody who owns a hall? And, it's like a bit like herding cats, trying to get it. But what's happened now is I'm now talking to a professional football club, and they asked me if I would sponsor their first team players by supplying the product, and in return for that, they'd give me X amount of free hospitality, digital media, advertising, email, etc. And I said, no, I don't want that. I said, I'm not interested. I'd rather pay and come watch a game. I said, however, if we become partners and I can go to into your community, because you will have customers, you'll have fans that want to come and watch your game but can't come because the knee, the back, the head's hurting.
Yeah.
But if we can get them stronger and better, they'll come to the game.
Fantastic.
So the beauty about that product is that because you see a result in such a short time, you're now open to having a conversation. Well, what else can I do to help myself? What else can I do? You know, it's not like a long process where, you know, you may or may not. So the idea, what I propose to them is that when we go to their academies, when we go to the community workshops, etc., I or a relevant person can come along. For example, the schools hold events. So I could go along to a school and talk to the ladies about perimenopause, menopause, anxiety.
Yeah.
Introduce them to a product and show them how other people have got better from that. You know, great for the football club, great for the community,
Exactly.
great for me.
And you're giving back so much there.
We can go to another section of the community where they have seniors getting involved in activity. And more want to get involved, but the knees hurt, the back hurts. We take the product, it eases the pain, they can do more. So we talk to them.
Yeah.
So that is now still delivering to the community, but different. And then, of course, the club could be a retail partner, so they can serve hot turmeric and honey on match days. They can serve pouches on match days, so they can generate a revenue from that. So to me, that's a more sustainable model.
Yeah.
There's helping the community and developing more fans to come and see them.
Oh, that sounds fantastic. I mean, a lot of time what you find with businesses are like people might come up with, say, an idea and everything else, and then what they do is they get stuck in limbo. They don't know how to sort of, like, they want to like serve the community or help, or they want to do good things, but then they're also, well, I've got bills to pay, I've got a house to pay, I've got kids to pay for. So now you're like you've got like a conflict of battle in your head of like, well, I want to do good, but I also know I've got to pay the bill. And a lot of people, like, this is one of the great things what we talk about is like, because of my other businesses and everything else, I don't have to do anything like with that. My other businesses fund everything we want to do with Drake.
Yeah.
So we've said this. It doesn't matter to us if we do 2-3 years without any income from Drake, Michigan. Yeah. But not everyone's in that position. You know what I mean? So at some point you have to say, right, well, how are we going to diverse this business model, if you like? So one, it brings money to pay the bills, if you like, but two, I stay true to helping the who I want to help. And I think sometimes, and it all comes down to the right people. It does. Because I mean, we've even been talking lately, like what we were talking about, social media and marketing. So like, obviously what we do, the wider the audience, the more people we get out to, we can serve more people, we can help more people. Now, Critch is fantastic at the computer side of things. I do very little apart from talk. But, so we bring in the right people. And I think sometimes, like, we have to just ask. We have to just ask the universe and trust that the right people are going to come to us at the right time. But, you know, what you're saying, just saying's fantastic. And I think it's going to help a lot of people.
Do you think you'd ever go down the route of drinks manufacturer again? Do you think it's always going to be a point where you're never going to get an ethical side, where you're going to have your own?
So my model is so simple. At the moment, you know, I'm producing 300 litres. Catherine makes a joke about how I only work 2 or 3 days a month producing it. But my model could be that I could license it, I could franchise it, just type,
franchise side,
for descriptive model, I could franchise it, or I could have the days I'm not in there, somebody else could come in and manufacture. You know, so we're sharing the resources 24/7.
I think with
there's so many things I could do.
What comes to my mind, obviously, because it's natural, right? Then it'd be very hard, I can imagine, to patent like something like this, because someone else might come along and say, I'm not saying it'd be exactly the same, but so for me, your key would be your marketing of your name. And what you're doing is the right thing, because what you're doing is everyone is relating that product being a good product to that name.
Yeah.
Right. So then you build you build the brand reputation. Okay. So then now you could have that on a shelf and someone else on the shelf, but everyone then says, yeah, but Revive works.
Yeah.
And that's the key. Yeah. So for me, I think what you're doing is the right thing, because you're building it from the ground up. So people trust the product. Yeah. And I think, again, sometimes you've got to let things just grow naturally. It would be lovely if you could come across a person who's in manufacturing and they have your ethics and your...
Has to be the ethics.
Yeah. Do you know? But you will always get as well people... Anyone, like, say someone has a factory. Mm-hmm. Unfortunately, what happens is they'll have overheads. They'll have they'll have rents, they'll have staff. And then they'll say, look, the only way I can do that is X. I can either charge you this much, and then you think, well, how am I supposed to give it people for the same price I used to? Or they say, well, what about if we alter the agreement? No, because then you're coming away from you.
This is where I get my inspiration from, GT Dave.
Yeah.
Because now, I mean, he's had Pepsi and Cola come try and buy him.
Have he?
But he is the largest independent drinks manufacturer globally. And he started in his parents' kitchen, making it for his mum and himself. And then he
him up after that.
Yeah, and then the you know, like Booze or Co-op, they have a policy that sometimes they'll take a business within a radius of where their shop is. Mm-hmm. So he found a similar model out there where this store would take local produce from producers, and he ended up in 3 or 4 of those, 5, then 10, you know. And I see that's how mine's grown.
I think so.
Exactly.
Yeah, because wouldn't it be nice if, like, I don't know, let's say like you've got a friend called Sam, and she's got she offers holistical treatments and angel and all that kind of stuff. Yeah. Now, wouldn't it be nice if she had like a nice fridge or something?
We're already there.
Oh, that's right.
We're already there. Angeline, Hidden Gem. Right. She's a holistic therapist.
I was going to say that for me,
and it's in her.
You get into salon. The people. Right. Yeah, I can imagine that being.
I have a health coach called Health Steps. You know, she sells 5, 6, 7 a week. You know,
fantastic
to her clients. Yeah. I have another lady called Judy. She does frequency. And some of the holistic therapies, massage, she sells it, you know. Yeah.
No, it's a great add-on.
No, I just think it's the best because ultimately it's like trying to talk to someone who's an unbeliever. What's the point of wasting your energy? You're wasting your breath. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. So, but the thing is, you know as well, like people who are in sort of certain fields, if you like, they're already realise, look, I know there's something in this.
Yes.
And then when they find the right person who's making it, it's like, oh, I'm having that.
Yeah. So we're already tapping into that market.
Fantastic.
I can't stop smiling.
I can't stop
smiling. Well, that's because you're in our energy.
All right. I'll stop smiling.
Tremendous.
So Revive, what does it mean?
Revive mind, body.
So what's it called?
It's about reviving our body's natural ability to heal itself.
Okay.
And it's something that we've forgotten how to do, and it's something that we've given the responsibility, quite frankly, to people that don't care about us.
Right.
That's
Yeah. So did you come up with the logo, or did you have that?
No, a great guy called Sam Gadd. He runs a design agency called Other Studio. What I did when I finished the process with Dan Elson for the marketing and my origin story, I gave my origin story to Sam, and Sam interviewed me.
Yeah,
you know, asked me about my culture, my beliefs. You know. Just myself, and he went away and he came up with that almost straight away, Revive. And then Catherine and I, we looked at it and pondered about it, Revive. And then I said, well, it's gone beyond the drink. It's more about what we do holistically. environmentally, psychologically, physiologically, to keep our bodies healthy. So it's mind and body. Mm-hmm. But I didn't want to put the and in it. Yeah. So I just call it Revive Mind Body. Mm-hmm. Reviving the body's natural ability to heal itself.
Fantastic. Yeah, lovely stuff.
Can I ask Cornel as well? Because there's a 21-day, is that right?
Yeah.
But that's when it's open, isn't it?
From opening, yeah. There's the beetroot actually carries 10 months ambient shelf life. The turmeric and ginger carries 6 months ambient shelf life, but it only carries 10 months because the people doing the testing got a little bit carried away and forgot to turn it off after 6 months. So both products, I do know, will have 10 months shelf life. But when you go through that process of food safety, you've got to pay money and licensing, and it should have cost me more to have that 10-month tag on it. The shelf life really only comes into its own if you're exporting and shipping, and things can be delayed in customs and getting. But in the UK, most of the things only have a month's shelf life because logistics are so keen.
Yeah.
Very good. Well, now what's good. So before we mentioned about because you have a fantastic blog, what people can read about. So if people want, how do people listen to or read your blog?
So I publish my blogs and updates on 3 platforms. The main platform is LinkedIn and Facebook, and sometimes I migrate across to Instagram. Those are the 3 places you can find me.
Yeah.
And most of my blogs or my writings are inspired by the frequently asked questions and what my retail partners are asking.
Yeah.
Can I take this with my meds? Well, why you got your meds? Sorry. But that's where I'm thinking. We need to change the way we think. We need to change our mindset. Medication is not the answer in most cases.
Yeah.
Today's blog is about sweeteners, and there's 4 sweeteners that we all know: aspartame, saccharin, and a couple of others that are linked to cancers. They're linked to blood disorders. They're linked to antibiotic-resistant bacteria in the gut and in the bowels. Because people say to me, "Oh, I've got bad guts. Can I take? Will Revive help me?" I'm saying, yes, it will help in the short term, but long term, you need to be looking at what's causing it. How can you make yourself better? And the first thing will be to stop taking products that contain artificial sweeteners. And I have personal experience going back 15 years ago. I knew a young lady that was drinking copious amounts of Diet Coke, but forever complaining about stomach issues and blaming everything except the Diet Coke.
It's mad, isn't it? They marketed it so well that to the family of Diet Coke.
Yeah.
Diet Pepsi.
Yeah.
And it's horrendous.
Or replace the sugar with something equally more dangerous.
Very dangerous.
And if diabetics, they think, oh, I'll take something with no sugar and take a sweetener, and it triggers diabetes.
Wow.
But they don't know this. They don't tell you this. And people, on calorie restriction diets won't associate that, And if you tell them, it's like, you don't want to believe it. Oh, no, I've been drinking 10 years. It can't be true, And
a lot of people by nature, do you know what? They might do they never look into anything deep enough. We always say this. People don't do the research. Yeah. And this is why it's important as well. This is why there's such a big market for teachers in the self-education platform, because people don't want to do the work themselves. They just want to, literally now, you'll be here today telling people this, and they'll say, all right, I'll start taking that. Right? Because, but they don't want to do the looking in, or they don't understand, or they'll do what the doctor tells them. Do you know what I mean? So, but I know you some of that resonated with me before. So you mentioned like people as they're getting older towards retirement age.
That's another thing, we're conditioned to think, oh, my golden years, I'm going to have a great time, I'm going to travel, I'm going to play with the grandkids and the kids. We bought a retirement house, we bought a camper van, we're building a business that we're going to liquidate, so we're going to have all this money to travel and all of that. And then I said, okay, that's all great, but what have you invested in your health? And for most people, it's zero, nothing at all.
No,
and people listening now, 10 or 15 years from retirement, we're listening now, just ask yourself, am I showing the signs of symptoms that something worse is coming to me? Do you hobble when you get out of bed in the morning? After being sat down, does your back ache? Do you have brain fog? Do you find it hard to focus and concentrate?
Well, what are you picking on me for?
You know,
I have all that.
yeah. Do your joints hurt? These are all signs that these are all signs that your retirement's going to be pants.
Yeah.
You know.
No, thanks for that. that's the positivity gone.
I was just
No, it's true. It's true.
It is true.
It's true. And listen, and the thing is, like, so at the moment we're going through a phase of telling to people, like, making these little changes in your life. And if one little change is to start looking at your health from another angle, from a normal, natural, like, you know, taking them walks, you know, doing a bit of exercise, taking the right drinks, if you like, and these are all you're gonna see the changes in 6 months. Well, within a very short period of time. But what I'm saying is,
depending where you are,
if you keep adding all these little changes to your life, you're going to see big results in your life.
We call it marginal gains, marginal changes, marginal gains. The reason most people fail with a New Year's resolution is it's too much too soon. Yeah. It's such a big culture change that they just can't sustain it.
Yeah. And it's the wrong time of year for people to make changes as well, isn't it?
Well, that's why we jumped on this morning with like a motivation, because you find a couple of weeks into January, all the New Year's resolutions, all the rest of that's it then. And then
by February, March, 90% have died on the vine.
All the time.
Yeah. Or because, you know, if people are not seeing the results that they want straight away, they give up and that kind of thing. But you know what, at least with this, if you did see, you know, some results straight away, then...
But when you start seeing results straight away, then you're motivated to do other things as well, aren't you? And change more.
You might say, if they're true about this, what else they're true about?
So that's a great point. I alluded to how I'd like to work in the communities. Taking the message to the community. The really great thing about this product is that people see a result within a matter of days.
Yeah. Once
they see those results, then it opens their mind a little bit more. What else can I do? Exactly. So just try drinking an extra cup of water a day. You know, just try and walk 4% more than you walked yesterday.
I'll have some fruit today.
But also it's a knock-on effect, because let's say somebody doesn't go for a walk at the moment because the knees hurt or inflammation. Suddenly they take this few days time, I'm going to go for that first walk. Now it might have started with the drink, but now suddenly in 6 months time you're having a jog.
But you know what, it'll inspire people as well to start maybe research as well, because people say, well, if turmeric and ginger's doing that, then what do other herbs do? And that's what's led me to the beetroot. I just had a drink with coffee and cinnamon. And then you were saying about natural honey as well, because that's supposed to be really good, isn't it?
I've heard there's a lot of benefits from
natural honey. I swear by it.
Yeah, I've heard that myself, actually. No, that's fantastic.
Got a great story about my turmeric. There's a footballer called an ex-footballer for Sheffield United, Jamie Hoyland.
I know Jamie Hoyland. He's played for Bury.
And Sheffield United, and he was at the stage where he had to stop going out with he's got some gun dogs. He stopped going out with his dogs.
He was a dog walker, I remember.
Stopped going out with his dogs, and he was coming down the stairs sideways, and he saw my drink advertised, so he bought some. Within 2 or 3 weeks, he's coming down the stairs normally. Within a month, he's back out walking with his dogs. 4 months later, he's on Townley Park training for the fun run.
Wow, that's
a guy that's had 8 knee operations and couldn't walk.
He struggled towards the end.
Couldn't walk, and all he's done differently. James is a great advocate. He exports that to Yorkshire, where the rest of his family lives.
Fantastic.
But you know,
fantastic.
He talked about seeing a change. You know, he's gone. He's now got his life back.
Brilliant.
Exactly.
He's now got his life back.
That's
he's
fantastic.
out there every Saturday morning. A picture of him and the dogs. Hi from the gang.
That's unbelievable. So that's what I'm saying. There's also, like, look at the way you're serving people in ways that it's not. It started with the juice, but you've transformed their whole life.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. So you're doing so much what people don't even see. It's amazing. That's actually
when we shortly after we started the journey of retailing it, our slogan is to change 1 million lives, one juice at a time.
Love that.
Lovely to know. I like that. Very nice.
I love that.
That's where we're at with
That's
it.
fantastic. That really good. Really good. Anything else that you want to?
You know what? I've really enjoyed that. Thanks for coming.
Do you know what? I've really enjoyed that. It's been good fun, good energy, great energy.
Well, I've learned a lot.
Great energy. But that's what I'm saying. They've learned, and hopefully people listening in, if you never tried it, give it a try.
Yeah.
One point I'd like to make, we said we've talked about how people see an immediate impact that can lead to a good change. And that's because we've been conditioned to think that we're okay until a symptom presents. Once we see a symptom, then we've got to find a quick fix.
Yeah.
And the fact that it starts to alleviate the symptoms means that they're now open to the conversation. However, along my research, I'm looking at all these natural products, and we're looking at some of the claims that are made, and people are trying to disprove the claims. But then when you compare populations in other parts of the world, like the Africas and the South Americas, there's no instance of blood pressure, of inflammation, heart disease, right? And they're the people that haven't been touched by modern society, the modern way of living, the modern way of eating, the modern way of breathing, whatever's around us, drinking whatever's in our water, things like that. So common sense has got to tell you what is different from that population to us. And it's really what we put in, what we breathe. That's the only difference. And as soon as we can get back to just putting in all the things that our body needs to help and repair itself, we'll be okay.
I think, again, this comes down to master of self, though, doesn't it? Because it's like, what do you consume? Not just in terms of food and drink, but the air you breathe, the people you surround yourself with. It's all of that. It's what you consume.
Well, again, but the whole, again, it comes back to the whole platform of Drake Michigan is every area, like body, mind, health, spirit, and it is master of self. You can reject what you put in your body, or you can accept what you put in your body. You know what I mean? And these are really big things that people.
Our conditioning goes so far as that I can be sat with somebody who's telling me, I've got blood pressure, I've got inflammation, I've got upset stomach. He said, "Can I take your juice?" And then his partner will say, "Well, that sounds good, I'll take some." And he'll say, "There's nothing wrong with you, you don't need it." And I'm saying, but I'm saying, but but all of us are on that journey to showing symptoms unless we're doing something about it now. And I'm saying to him, that's the wrong attitude. Prevention is better than cure. She should be taking as much as you.
You don't need the illness to show itself before you start taking something what's good for you.
That's our condition.
The message. I don't need that. I'm all right. I don't know.
Well, there's only one thing I can say is get yourself some Revive.
Definitely no.
I'm going to be one of your first. Not your first, but I'm going to be one of your new customers anyway, because I'm making changes. And in fact, what I'll tell you what I'll do, because I'll report it on my blog as well. I'll start taking it regular, and I'll say look, I'm see how it's doing.
Well, what I'll do as well in the description, in the podcast for the below part of the description, I'll put any kind of contact, how to get in touch with any of the suppliers. We can list the suppliers. So
my nearest one will be by the garage, the Taylor's Farm. That's around the corner from me. So I can just go in there and buy this.
Yeah.
Happy days.
We restocked them last week.
There you go. So, that'll do me.
It's going well. Thank you, Cornel.
And do you know what? Just on a personal, just well done on your story and turning your mess into a message. And I think it's an inspiration. And I think Hey,
I'll tell you what, it'd be great to get you back and tell us how you're progressing the next 6 months.
I'd love to come back.
That'd be great.
I can see it only going from strength to strength just because of the character you are and the energy and do you know what I mean? Some people have got it. Some people have to work on it.
You're looking at me.
All right, guys, calm down.
Quality.
Right, well, thank you very much.
Yeah, thanks for that, everyone. And thanks for Cornel to coming in and sharing your story with us. And Yeah.
I'd like to thank all the listeners to Drake Michigan. Thank you for sharing your earbuds and your eyes with us, those who are watching the podcast.
Yeah,
also. It's been my pleasure, guys. Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Nice one, Cornel.
Thanks for having me. Good on you. Good on you.